So the second part of today's class is about single period capital rationing. Okay, it refers to the capital is limited for 1 year, 1 period only, for example, 1 year time. And if the projects to be selected are divisible, okay, and it is very important, divisible, okay, it's the key words I hope you remember when you study the class. The projects to be selected are divisible, then the basic rule of contribution per limiting factor can be applied. Okay, we'll explain it a little bit later, what's the rule to be applied, but the key words here to be remembered is divisible. The projects are assumed to be divisible. If it is not divisible, then the following formula will not be applied. Okay, here we talk about divisible and non-divisible. Okay, for example, if it is non-divisible, we have no choice but just select the optimum projects by trial and error. It means the project selection based on what? NPV. Okay, based on NPV. If it is non-divisible, we have no choice but just select the optimum projects by trial and error based on the summation of NPV. We will show you two examples here to illustrate what the difference between divisible and non-divisible projects. So yes, if the projects are mutually exclusive, then we can only select one of them. Okay, it's easy. So the formula here, PI, okay, it's very important. So I give a star, okay, I'll give a star here. Okay, it's an important formula, so I would like you to remember because the PI is quite easy to get marks. If the examination showed you the question asking what is the PI or even what is the capital rationing if based on the PI. PI, okay, PI, the profitability index. The profitability index means the project NPV, okay, total project NPV excluding the capital investment divided by the present value of outlay in year of shortage, or the present value of investments. Okay, the present value of capital investment. Remember, we talk about single period rationing. What does single period mean? In the single period rationing, it doesn't mean the project has only 1 year life. Okay, it may have more than 1 year life, but we select the project at now. Okay, the projects maybe last for more than 1 year life. Okay, be careful of this concept. Okay, single period rationing means, for example, right now we have project A, B, C. Okay, we have the PV, for example, for A, PV is $100, B maybe 90, C maybe, for example, 120. Then we have the investment. Right? We have the investment. It's the present value of investment. Okay, here the present value showing here, okay, is the project NPV. Okay, it's the project NPV. So the present value of investment, say for example, maybe here is $80, here maybe 75, here maybe 90. Okay, then you found the PI for these different projects, but the present value doesn't mean the projects only had 1 year life, maybe have more than 1 year. But in a single period rationing, okay, it means the capital is limited for 1 period only. The capital is limited 1 period only. Okay, 1 period only. It's a very important concept. So just repeat. Okay, it doesn't mean single period means that all the projects are within 1 year. Okay, so illustration. Single period rationing with divisible projects. Okay, you are given a company called Bamboo. So just read the questions, and we'll come back and explain to you how to get the numbers. Okay, coming back. So I will show you these quite easy examples how to get the numbers. We have the Bamboo Limited. Okay, we have the Bamboo Limited. We have project A, B, C, and D. And we have the initial outlay. We have the NPV. So just remember the formula here. Okay, for project A, B, C, D. Okay, we need to find the PI, right? We need to find the PI. So for A, PI means the NPV excluding the initial investments. So PV of investment. Okay, make it simple. So for project A, the NPV is $80 and divided by the present value of investment. So because the question is asking you a simple concept only, so only asking you, I would only give you $100 for the initial investment. So I just put 100, and the PI is 0.8. For B, 50 is the present value, and divided by 60, which is initial investment. So it is 0.x3. And for C, is 35 divided by 70, the investment. So it is 0.5. And for D, 96 divided by 200. So it's 0.48. Then is the PI, right? Is the PI. We need to work out. We need to find the rank. We need to find out the ranking of these 4 projects. Okay. Because the projects are divisible, so partial allocation is allowed. So we'll do it later. But before do the allocation, we need to rank them. The best projects or the first projects, which is you have to, for example, you have to invest is project B because it gets the highest PI, highest profitability index. So it's the rank number 1. Then it's project A, project C, and project D. All right. So when we get the ranking, then we can work out the allocation table. Okay, we have 300 to invest. Okay, we have project B asking you to have $60, and then the balance is 240. Project A, 100, balance is 140, and project C, 70. Balance is 70, and then project D. Project D, because it is divisible. Okay, because the question is given the information to you. The projects are divisible, so you can invest $70 in project E. Okay, here's the allocation of the funds. Okay, I hope it's clear, because it is not very difficult for you to understand. I will come back here after several slides later, presenting later. But right now, I think it is quite easy for you to understand what is single period rationing with divisible projects. Okay, next, okay, we talk about non-divisible projects. Non-divisible projects. So you can read the question now. Okay, coming back. The question here, okay, is about this company has PQR projects to invest, and the funds are limited, only limited to 950,000 for investment. And the company policy here states clear. The company policy is invest in whole projects, because the projects cannot be divided. Okay, it's non-divisible projects. So it's asking you which combination of projects give the highest NPV. Okay, I think it's because it's for only illustration. The requirement we ask you a bit in an easy way. Maybe in examination, okay, if you have similar information provided, the question maybe just ask you, okay, given the information here, please suggest the management which projects to be invested. Okay, it won't say combination of projects or whatever, but remember the keywords: non-divisible. Okay, here maybe whole project. If whole project non-divisible, then can we work out the PI? Just ask you, can we work out the PI? No, right? We cannot work out the PI, because I will come back to first illustration, because there's some weakness or some problems of PI, and after we go through this illustration of this Nottingham Limited. Okay. If it is non-divisible, then we need to find the combinations. Okay, for the combinations that can give you the highest NPV. For example, we can have P and Q, we can have P and R, we can have Q and R. Okay, then we have, I put down the total investment here. Total investment, and then is the summation of PV, is the NPV, okay. For the P and Q, the total investment, how much? P and Q is 400 plus 500, so it's $900. Okay, P and R, which is 400 plus 300, which is 700. For Q and R is 500 plus 300, so it's 800. Okay. For summation of PV, then you have to add up different projects. For example, for P and Q, you have add up 565 and 670, so it gives you 1,235. Okay. For P and R is 1,053, and for Q and R is 1,158. Okay, because you have the total investment, you have the present value of all future cash flows. Then you can get the NPV by finding out the difference between these two items. For example, for the first combination, you found the NPV is 335. Next is 353. Sorry. The last part is 358. So it's easy. For the combination, we found this is contributed best NPV to the company. Even it has $950,000 to invest, but it can only use up to $800,000. So it means $150,000 will be this. Maybe it is the surplus cash for other investments. Okay, for other investments. So up to here, we showed you two examples. One is divisible projects for single period rationing. The other is non-divisible projects. And I would like to go back. Okay, go back. I think you remember this single period rationing with divisible projects. If I change the words to non-divisible, then PI cannot be used. Okay, if you still use the PI, then it will not be the best or the highest NPV that you can achieve based on the funds available for you to invest. For example, here. Okay, if you base on the PI, number one is B, right? Remember, number one is B, number two is A, then is C, and then is D. Okay, if you, for example, invest 300 based on these rules, then the NPV for these three, how much is it? It's only 165, right? It's only 165. But if you invest 300 in project A and project D, what's the NPV? Okay, if A plus D, the NPV will be, okay, you can see 176 must be larger than 165. So we remember PI, some limitation or restrictions that I would like to share with you from these basic examples, because I would like to introduce two methods. One is the single projects with single period rationing with divisible projects, the other with non-divisible projects, then to tell you the disadvantages of PI. Disadvantages of PI is, first of all, okay, is only divisible project. Okay, only divisible projects. And the selection method is too simple. All right. And third is about the scale. Okay, as we mentioned here. Okay, if based on the PI, the larger scale, for example, this 200 will not be considered because the PI is the lowest. But in terms of NPV, it's the highest. Okay. So the scale, it doesn't consider the scale with the consideration of any project absolute size. So I think these three disadvantages or problems of PI should be remembered in case you are asked in the examination.